When a disaster strikes, human instinct drives people to help. But a sudden influx of uncoordinated citizens surging against a barrier creates an operational liability. An influx of untrained individuals physically blocks critical access routes, delaying medical and logistical supply lines, and forcing professional responders to divert attention to crowd control. Traditional analog methods compound this issue. Command centers relying on intermittent voice reports over radio frequencies lack the situational awareness needed to track unpredictable civilian movements in real time. Operating with this delayed information results in the misallocation of finite rescue assets. First responders deploy to the wrong zones, while secure perimeters are inadvertently breached by people looking for ways to assist. Allowing civilians to enter unvetted hazard zones without protective equipment or specific protocols directly exposes them to structural and environmental risks. The systemic failure stems from the absence of a real-time tracking architecture, not a lack of human willingness. Coordination requires a system capable of safely processing and directing that raw human energy. To capture and structure this input, modern command centers implement digital frameworks like the CrowdTasker system. Developed from research into disaster control IT, CrowdTasker links volunteers to emergency organizations, allowing command to mobilize specific individuals rather than issuing blind calls for help. Command staff look at an interactive map where blinking dots begin to populate, showing the exact location of registered participants. Administrators apply geographical limitations to filter the interface. As individuals confirm availability, that data populates the dashboard, providing statistical clarity on the available labor pool. Depending on the scale of the emergency, dispatchers select a highly targeted group of nearby individuals or instantly ping every available force in the entire network. By mapping civilian locations and processing their status in real time, command centers convert unpredictable crowds into a decentralized, measurable network of responders. At the street level, an incident occurs and a hazard perimeter is established. The system initiates its first communication loop phase, using a protocol known as segmented alerting. This function pushes incident data directly to the mobile devices of citizens, located strictly within a defined risk radius. This vector map demonstrates how the targeting works. A digital geofence drops over exact city blocks, ensuring the warning has immediate operational relevance to those inside the boundary. Traditional systems rely on sirens or mass broadcast alerts that cover an entire region, reaching thousands of people who are miles away from the actual event. Restricting the alert prevents unaffected populations from jamming phone lines or attempting to evacuate, mitigating secondary panics outside the immediate area. Inside the fence, the precise messaging prompts different demographics and vulnerability profiles to take immediate, appropriate protective action. Dictating safe civilian action through strict geographic targeting establishes a clean downstream data flow, managing the immediate risk area without overwhelming the broader public. To gather information back from that perimeter, agencies utilize structured crowdsourcing platforms like GoodSAM. Using GoodSAM's Instant On-Scene feature, individuals on the ground point their phone directly at the damage, generating immediate visual intelligence. This bypasses the need for civilians to articulate complex spatial or medical situations over congested radio frequencies or emergency calls. The application captures multiple data streams simultaneously, unifying live video feeds, precise geographic coordinates, and real-time audio transcriptions. This creates a closed-loop digital tether, bridging the compromised site to command center screens. With visual confirmation arriving instantly, dispatchers accurately assess the severity of a fire, collapse, or collision before dispatching official rescue units. Paramedics and clinical staff apply this feed to perform remote triage, identifying the most critical patients and allocating specialized medical resources accordingly. Pulling live video and location data straight from civilian devices equips the command center with situational clarity before a single professional responder arrives on scene. Once the scene is assessed, command staff process the incoming influx of registered volunteers offering assistance. The software utilizes algorithmic tasking to assign customized tasks based on a user's verified skills and qualifications. An effective disaster response requires strictly separating simple transport or monitoring needs from complex, high-risk medical procedures. As shown in this diagram, the software's sorting algorithm evaluates the complexity of the task and sorts the participants into color-coded functional categories, matching their specific profiles. General citizens without specialized training are assigned simple transport duties. Conversely, verified medical professionals receive alerts to locate the nearest registered AED and execute complex cardiac resuscitation. This calculation happens in a fraction of a second, allowing the system to simultaneously mobilize thousands of people across a city with explicit instructions. Filtering assignments by capability actively protects civilians, ensuring untrained individuals are kept entirely clear of specialized, dangerous environments. Automating this process bypasses the manual intake desks, interviews, and paperwork that traditionally stall volunteer deployment. By parsing out individual qualifications, the architecture treats human capital as a highly targeted, deployable asset. Activating this technology in the field requires trained personnel operating tablets during live deployments. To guide these operators, organizations implement training frameworks like EVDEMS, which dictate guidelines for ethical crisis volunteering and disaster management. Even the most autonomous digital routing systems require rigorous, human-led policy to function securely. Managers use digital boards like this to visualize task progression. Skills are organized into distinct columns, ensuring constant accountability. Without this rigid tracking, moving crowds into hazard zones collapses the supply chain and leads to mission failure. Equipping coordinators with this training ensures they ask the critical policy questions necessary to maintain inclusive, ethical operations during a chaotic event. The application provides logistics, but the response relies entirely on the trained leadership governing its use. Stepping back to look at the entire operational grid reveals a completely integrated environment. The system identifies a threat, pushes alerts to those nearby, pulls video evidence from phones, and deploys skills precisely where needed. As seen on this geographic model, the output is a massive network. Thousands of individuals, categorized by capability, are connected into a unified safety net. This infrastructure maps over natural human movement, updating operational impact minute by minute. It permanently closes the operational gap between the distressed caller, the willing civilian, and the dispatched professional. Emergency command centers bypass analog radio blind spots, operating through data-rich, centralized interfaces. By structuring raw human instinct with precise digital architecture, modern emergency systems safely operationalize civilian goodwill to save lives, replacing the uncoordinated responses of yesterday.